So this is the map how it has come. It has had a surface clean because it was very dirty. As soon as you touched it, your hands were black. What I used for that is I used a foam eraser, which is a special kind of foam plus-sized eraser, soft brushes, and a vulcanised rubber smoke sponge, which, when using those kind of materials, are very gentle on the surface, but also they're not going to leave any residue, so it's not like it's going to add anything or keep the dirt on the map. It's actually taking it out and taking it away from the actual surface of the map. The varnish has actually taken the surface of the paper off, particularly you can see it at the top where it started to kind of break down, particularly when it's been mixed with the glue that it was stuck onto the top rod with, and it's just taken the surface off. But yes, so it's got these little shatter marks in it, which have happened because of how it's been rolled and how it's been tightly rolled, because varnish becomes brittle and then you're rolling it and it's soaked into the paper, and it does create these kind of little shattered marks, these cracks. Now when this map first came in to the conservation studios, it wouldn't lie flat at all. It would not, for love nor money, lie flat. And it's still, you can see, it's still got some undulations and cockling, but at least it's sitting. It was just springing back every time I kind of went to do it, it would spring back on me. And the reason for that, and you can see all along the edges are damaged, and there's these big cracks, and you can actually see the width of where it's been rolled here. If you look at it, if I carefully lift this portion up, you can see it had a very poorly applied paper strips on either end of the map, and they were like gummed paper, and then someone, because the gum must have been kind of coming loose, someone had gone along with animal glue and kind of stuck it back down, which again goes brittle, and it doesn't allow, and having that kind of support, yes, it was to stop the map edges kind of deteriorating further, but it also created a lot of problems because it didn't allow for natural expansion and contraction, and it didn't allow for it evenly because it was just strips, and you can actually see the darker strip down each side, where there's also been a little bit of acid transfer from the brown paper. So the brown paper was very acidic, has been put on very brittle, become very brittle, and also been applied very poorly because it, you can see here, you can come around and see it later, it wasn't applied directly to the linen, it was applied with creases in the linen as well, which made it so you can imagine there was no way I was ever going to get it flat in those kind of terms. It opened a lot easier because it didn't have the restrictions on the edge, that with the different tensions fighting against each other, the tension of the linen, the tension of the strips, the tension of the paper, all fighting against each other.
Unless it was open though, before I gave it away. Because it'd been a big top on the top shelf.
Yeah, and did you say it was in a barn?
Yes,
it's been in a barn. Yeah. So it's not been in brilliant environmental conditions as well. This poor thing's definitely had a rough life.
And it was outside for a week and it'd be burned.
That explains so much. You can see it's just dirty. And it has a very odd smell to it, which now I've discovered it was in a barn. Explains it. So it was a very popular thing to try and get things to last, to varnish them. And then it could just be wiped over or whatever, but it was a very, very popular method. It was cheaper than framing, it was cheaper than mounting it. And it was just to be hung up as a reference point.
What are options?
Your options are, I'd fully recommend heartily recommend that the linen is removed from the back.
Just the thought of you having to sit and take that linen off the back inch by inch. I mean that must take days of your time.
That's the most fun part.
Is it?
Oh, it's so fun taking
So you
linen
use a
off
scalpel
that
to do
mats.
it? Or how do you do it? They give you a
Conserve
scalpel,
the
would you like to show?
No, it would be inch by inch down the sides, which would take time. But actually, because the centre of the map is actually quite solid, depending on the thickness of the paste that was used to adhere it, it actually just tears off. And it's so much fun. It's like my favourite job.